Hey, Adeena, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Elicia. How are you?
Fantastic, thank you. Today, I want to talk to you about the spas that you have built yourself. We're going to talk a little bit about, we call it salon fit out or clinic fit out. That's what we would say here in Australia. I know that we did that in our space, and so we might talk a bit about that. But I'd love to hear your experiences of what it was like to build your spas that you've owned over the years.
Yes, so my first spa that I built started out as renting a room through Craigslist. I checked out several locations, and this place just felt like it had good bones. I could see the potential there. It was a bachelor chiropractor in his 60s, and it had the Persian rugs and just a little manly and a little bare, but I knew the good bones were there, and I really liked the vibe or the energy. He just seemed very peaceful, very loving. And to be honest with you, Alicia, when I first outfitted my very first spa, I had a $900 budget. I had left a well paying, or what do we call it, a medical aesthetics business. And I decided to go out on my own. So, not having a ton of money, I had about $900 to my name. So, true story. My son was about 2 years old and he had an, what do you call those things? Armoire. He had an armoire and it didn't have a lot of baby clothes in it. And we had a bunch of Sterilite containers under his crib, the kinds that roll out from underneath the crib. And I just transferred all his clothes there and a little dresser. I took that armoire. I took the a parson leather chair from the dining table for the clients to sit and put on and off their shoes. I grabbed some things from a yard sale that was literally two doors down the street, and I outfitted it with a couple of pictures and things from Walmart and Home Goods. So my outfit at first was, hey, what can I do on $900? I did go on Craigslist, and there was someone who was selling their business. She had had a baby. She no longer wanted her location, and I basically bought her massage table, everything I could think of, a couple little things on like a microdermabrasion machine, everything I could from her, like just bargain basement prices, you guys. It was awesome, and I started with Groupon. And it wasn't the best way to start because I attracted those kind of clients who really didn't value me, but that's how I outfitted my business. As you know, later down the road, when things weren't working for me, I completely transformed, got rid of attracting those lower end clients, and just completely 180'd my business to where I decided to do a brand. So, when I talk about brand for me, my chiropractor decided to retire at 65 and leave me, if I wanted it, the lease for the whole place, which was super scary because the rent was about 5 or 6 times more than I was paying for to rent one of his rooms. And I talked to my husband about it and we said, you know what, let's go for it. So we gave the whole place, the cheapest thing you can do is give everything a whole new paint job. So we went with all white and gray, which was very popular at the time. The bones were already there, the hardwood floors were already there. And we just, with a few little aesthetic basics, were able to just make the place feel new and fresh. And at that same time, I, hired a couple coaches and was able to just work on my branding, my mindset, my marketing, and go from there because I had to. I was on the third floor of this medical building, and no one knew where I was. Right, I didn't have any street frontage or windows that were to say, "Hey, come to me." So I had to get really, really creative with my branding, my marketing, and outfitting myself. And I started with a couple machines that I felt would give me an edge. But here's the thing: how many of us have bought a machine and thought, "Oh my gosh, their marketing is so good. If I just spend these thousands of dollars on this machine, that's the ticket. I'll finally have." I mean, I talk to so many clients that I coach that decide they're going to become microbladers. They're going to do eyebrows and they can finally make what 350 or something, 500 for eyebrow microblading. And they have something there that's unique and they love to do it, but they don't have the systems, the plan and the support, the clarity or the accountability to actually take it, dust off that certificate, keep it from collecting dust, keep that machine from collecting dust. And that same thing happened to me. So I really strongly believe that I've done all the wrong things that would supposedly help someone work. I've had a 5-room spa. I've had a place that had, the best of the best machines, and still was burning out and spinning and overwhelmed with such great anxiety and depression and fear of not making it, and fear of letting my family down, and fear that I would have to go back and get a real job and work for the medical spa again. So that was my first outfitting of my first location. Did that help?
Absolutely. And like, I think massage therapists are similar in terms of they may not have machines, but they will do lots and lots of courses. And I've spoken to so many therapists who are like, oh yeah, no, we've done this and this and this and this. And I'm like, do you use any of it? Well, sometimes. And when I ask them about marketing, and they're like, I don't really know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain it to clients, but people get it when they come in, but I can't explain it before that. And so, often, that someone will do a course on the weekend, film it on their phone, then maybe look at it a couple of times, and by Thursday have totally forgotten what it is that they learned, and spend hundreds and sometimes thousands of dollars on really good quality techniques that are absolutely amazing to really hone their skills, but don't actually implement it and create it as part of them being a specialist to set themselves apart in their community and in their area. And so, like certainly I know for us, when we fitted out our clinic, when we went from very first clinic we had, we have the reject shop here, probably similar to Walmart. And it's like all the furniture came from there. And it was like my mum made the curtains, God bless her. And there was a whole wall that had a window that was into a garage. And so mum got really strong, thick backed material. It was made of clouds, so people would feel really calmed. And it was very beachy. So the walls were already yellow, so it was like a light yellow with these blue clouds, so classically kind of 90s and beachy. And like just same thing, very, very cheap, super, super cheap fit out. When we moved across the road, we were a little bit more intentional. But even then, I had a budget of, I think we got a personal loan for $10,000 to fit out the clinic. And that had to include building an extra room. Now, thankfully, I've got family, like keep it in the family, who came in and actually fitted out the room for me, which was great. So, I got some really good pricing and things like that. But it was still very much on a budget. And much nicer than what we had across the road. There was a bigger contrast. And one of my staff was actually if she wasn't a massage therapist, she would have been an interior designer. And so I sat down in one of the treatment rooms with her and said, right, what do you want to do? Here's the budget. We don't have a lot, but play with this. What would you put in and what would you create? And similar thing, we also painted all white. There was a lot of unsealed bricks and I painted most of it. I gave myself a week to fit it out. Nearly killed me, but we got it done. And thanks to the help of my mum and Jess came in, one of my staff painted, and also one of my good friends, Erin, we were able to get that place looking amazing within a week. But wow, not something I want to do again. I feel like it's like renovations. It's like I can only do it once. It's not really how I'm wired. So tell us a bit about the next step for you then. That's the first clinic that you've kind of put together. What are you working on at the moment?
At the moment, I'm doing something, believe it or not, it feels completely out of my comfort zone, in the sense that my first spa was downtown San Diego, maybe 5 minutes from the airport, and very central to about 5 freeways. Even though it was my room was on the 3rd floor. This time, my heart has changed more because I do coach salon and spa owners across the country, and I'm having to juggle that kind of schedule and making an impact and a difference for them. I still want to get my hands dirty. I still want to offer the services that I offered very similarly and very successfully in San Diego here. So what's different is this time I'm actually creating the spa out of my home. So I know of a few women that have done that and are very successful that way. To be honest with you, I'm getting out of my own way and out of my own mindset because that feels different to me. But at the same time, because it is in my own home, I'm really going overboard with the beauty, the finishes, these beautiful wall wooden accents that we're doing, because we're dealing with electricity. as part of my theme for the spa. Electricity has a positive and a negative current. So red, and black. And so our theme or our colors are very simple: red, black, and white with little pops of gold. So, and everything is going to be around like one central. I'm trying not to give it away because we're, about to open, but we are literally just keeping it very simple, but very beautiful, very high end. And here's something I want to share. If anyone is starting again, I saw this fantastic meme on social media that says, and I felt like it was for me, you're not starting over, you're starting from experience. And that thing, I must have seen that maybe 2 months ago, but it still is in my heart and still is reminding me that I'm not starting over. I'm starting from experience. And if I can help women double and triple their income in their spas and salons with the knowledge that I have taken with me for the past decade, I can do that again, but I can do it really much more on my own terms and however I want that to look. So it's like a new journey, a new metamorphosis. You think you've hit all the mindset shifts and blocks, you've busted through and broken through those limiting beliefs, and then it's kind of like a new journey to break through those new limiting beliefs, or even coming back to some lessons that you thought you learned and having to learn them all over again, reminding yourself that you can do it again.
Look, I think of growth a little bit like a multi-story car park at an airport. You go around and it's the same, and then there's no car parks, and you go to the next level and you go to the next level, and it feels like Groundhog Day, except when you look out, you see the perspective has shifted. And I think growth is like that the higher up we get, the more we grow. It can sometimes feel like, I thought that I dealt with this, but actually now I'm on level C rather than being on level A, or I've moved up to the green rather than being on the blue. And when you look out, instead of seeing the bottom of the airport, you can actually see the planes, and I think it's a really important for any, whether you're a coach, whether you're a practitioner, an esthetician, it's good to be reminded that sometimes even your coaches hit glass ceilings and need to bust through them and kind of work through that mindset. And I hope that we don't ever stop, because if we're not green and growing, we're ripe and rotting, right? We want to make sure that we're moving through and being challenged and growing, because we learn so much. And I know, I'm sure this is the same for you as well, that when we're journeying through something, the next thing that happens, or sometimes simultaneously, is that's what we start coaching our clients through. It's like, you see that whatever you're journeying through, that filter starts to play out in the coaching calls that you have with them, because it's like, I'm seeing that, and this is how I'm overcoming it, and this is what we can do to help it.
I love that you said that. When you say something, sometimes my heart feels like it's going to leap out of my chest because we're resonating so well. But it's so good to know, Elicia, that I'm not the only one who's gone through that. I noticed that aha moment, that awareness that you mentioned, and I did not know, and I've never shared that with you or anyone, but it's nice to know, because you're a coach as well, that you've experienced the same thing, which is when I'm going through something in my own life, it's really uncanny, strange, and funny that then the clients that God brings to me, they are going through those same things. And it's like, when you're when the teacher is ready, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, right? And you can't coach from a place that you've never been. And I just love how God does that, where he has you go through something. Even happened today in one of my coaching calls, where, not to give too much away, but there's something going on in her personal life that was like, wow, thank you, God, because I can speak into that, because that's what we have been going through the last 12 weeks. And to be so genuine. And I think that's so helpful, that clients on the other end of that Zoom call or phone call are able to know that we don't have it all together. As coaches, we haven't arrived, and we have real world problems too. We struggle with balancing, your marriage, your family, your business, your children, your clients, their needs and wants, and maybe even struggling with your own expectations for yourself, or how far you feel that you've gone, or how far you feel like you should be. I should be this much further ahead in my life by now. All of these things that we go through, it's really funny that you said that, and I'm so thankful to hear, like, oh, what a relief. I'm not the only one. So thank you.
Not at all. I think I heard it. Now, I can't remember if it was Oprah or Joyce Meyer. Both of them are great women. One of them said, your mess becomes your message. And I think that that's so true. It's like, in order to be, and in the coaching space, there is a lot of people. It doesn't take much to get into the coaching space. It's an unregulated industry. Anyone can call themselves a coach. So for me personally, two things I look for. One is, have they had the results in their life that they're teaching? Because I think that's really important. And number two is, are they actually walking in integrity? Which means, are they taking their actions and their beliefs, and are they actually walking that out? And as you said, like, being a coach doesn't mean you've arrived. Being a coach means that we're just more aware of the stuff as it comes up. And so when someone does present with, I've been there and done that. And I don't know if you find yourself doing this, Adeena, that sometimes you're talking to someone and you share something and you think, should listen to that. That was very clever, Coach Leash. Coach Leash, thank you for that. I'll take that too, because I think Leash over here needs it as well when you're talking to people.
Yeah, it seems like the pattern that I've kind of noticed is like you said, coaches don't have it all together. We've not, quote unquote, arrived. What we have done is we're about theoretically 5 years ahead of our ideal client. So if you can work with me and I'm 5 years ahead of the curve of where you want to be, and I can shave off and save you 5 years of trial and error and making mistakes, that's worth its weight in gold, because you can take off those 5 years and get it done maybe in 5 weeks or 5 months. So the clients that I notice that God brings in my life is just someone that I'm ahead of by 3 to 5 years.
Yeah. So good. So good. I love that. Well, hopefully that's been super helpful for those that are listening to be able to hear a little bit of our story and our journey. But also, we've talked all things growth. We've talked about clinic fit outs and, ideal markets and ideal, branding. And there's been so many great topics and things that people can get all sorts of great gold from that. Thanks heaps for your time today. And we'll look forward to speaking to you in the next episode.
This podcast was brought to you by Coach Adeena Wagner from Clients on Repeat and Alicia Crook from Massage Champions. For more information, you can visit adeenawagner.com and massagechampions.com for more secrets on the art of growing a successful spa and massage business. Thanks again for listening to our show. Please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. We'll catch you in the next episode.